Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Lily Knits YouTube channel. I'm beyond excited to have you here today because we're about to dive into the simple yet gorgeous stitch pattern used in my Candy Stripes baby blanket. Not only is this stitch great for blankets, but it's also perfect for beginner crocheters. Or if you're like myself, lazy crocheters who love to not have to think too much while working on their beautiful creations. Trust me, you'll be hooked on this stitch because once you've got that foundation row down, it's all smooth sailing. Just repeat one row over and voila, you'll have a snuggly, cuddly baby blanket that'll be sure to impress anyone that lays eyes on it. I've linked to the pattern in the description below, so if you'd like the written instructions, be sure to click on the link and visit my site. And as always, if you found this tutorial helpful, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button so that you won't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. Your support means a lot and it helps me to keep creating more content for you to enjoy. Alright, no more waiting. Let's jump right into the stitch. To keep this video short, I'm assuming that you already have the crochet basics down and can make a foundation chain and work both the single and double crochet stitches. So if you're completely new to crochet, I highly recommend that you review these basics to follow along with this video. As for materials, you'll need a crochet hook. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook, some worsted weight yarn in a couple of colors, and a pair of scissors. We'll begin by making a slip knot and then chaining a multiple of 3 plus 1 for the foundation chain. So for those of you that are working on the Candy Stripes baby blanket, you'll need to chain 124 for your foundation chain. I'm just going to make a small swatch to demonstrate the stitch pattern, and if you'd like to practice the stitch before attempting the full-size blanket, then follow along with me and chain 25 stitches. Okay, we're ready to begin working on the first row. So I like to crochet into the back bumps of my foundation chain because I personally think it makes a prettier edge, but feel free to use your preferred method for crocheting into the foundation chain. The first step of this row is to work one double crochet into the fourth chain from the hook. Next, chain 2, and then working into the same stitch, complete one single crochet. Okay guys, this is where the repeat begins. Skip the next 2 chains and then work 2 double crochet stitches into the next chain. So now that we have worked 2 double crochet stitches into our chain, just like before, we will chain 2 and then single crochet into the same stitch to finish the repeat. So I'll show this to you one more time slowly. Skip 2 chains and then work 2 double crochets into the next chain. So you can see this is why we have a multiple of 3. And then chain 2 and single crochet into the same stitch just like before to finish our repeat. So we'll continue this repeat right until the very last stitch. Now that we've completed the last repeat in the last chain of the row, we can chain 3 and we're ready to begin our next row. Row 2 and every row from here on out, because from here on out we're just repeating row 2, is pretty much the same as row 1. Except instead of working into the foundation chain, we're now going to work our repeats into the chain 2 spaces created from the row below. So keep in mind that the turning chain acts as a double crochet, which is why for the first stitch we only need to make 1 double crochet before we chain 2, just like we did for row 1. So chain 2 and then single crochet into the same space to begin our row, and then we begin our repeat. So as we did for below, all we need to do is work 2 double crochets into our next chain 2 space, and then chain 2, and then finish off the repeat with a single crochet right into the same space. So we'll do this all the way down the row, right until the very last chain 2 space. So I often get asked what is meant by chain 2 space, and it's actually really simple. You don't have to crochet into any of the chains. All you have to do is crochet right into the space created by the 2 chains. And then once you finish your final repeat in your final chain 2 space, chain 3 and turn your work. And then we just simply repeat this row throughout the rest of the pattern. Okay, now that we have the stitch pattern down, I'll show you how to change colors seamlessly. I have some white yarn and I want my next row to be worked in white. So while finishing my last pink row, I'm going to pull my last loop through for my last single crochet stitch with my new yarn color. I can now chain 3 and begin my new row in white. And it's really that simple to change yarn colors. So I'm going to continue my last row in white, and then I will show you how to finish off your very last row once you're finished your blanket, because you can see the top is kind of bumpy and we don't want it to be bumpy. We want it to be straight. So looking at this swatch, you can see that the foundation chain row is flat and the top row is bumpy. And I don't know about you guys, but I like my blankets to look the same on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to show you how to straighten out that top row. So when working your very last row, the first thing you want to do is double crochet into that first single crochet. So that's the last single crochet that you made from the row below. And then we're going to skip our next 2 chains and then single crochet into the next 2 double crochets. So what you're doing here is you're double crocheting into your single crochets and you're single crocheting into your double crochets, and you're ignoring the chains basically. So I'm going to continue on with the repeat. So I've worked my single crochets into my next 2 double crochets, and now I'm going to double crochet into the next single crochet, skip the next 2 chains, and then single crochet into the next 2 double crochets. And that's it. So we just repeat this all the way to the end of the row. Remember how I mentioned that our turning chain counts as the first double crochet stitch of the row? Well, this is where it becomes important. So when working our very last single crochet of our very last row, we want to work that into the top of our turning chain, because that's actually our very last double crochet. So please don't forget that part when you're finishing off your blanket. And that's it. All you have to do now is fasten off, weave in all your ends, and you have your baby blanket or your swatch if you're following along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the like button. And I've linked to the pattern in the description box below, so please feel free to check it out on my website, www.lilyknits.com.